To Dispatch Radio, sponsored by theglobaldispatch.com.
Welcome back to Dispatch Radio. We have on us with us a very special guest. We are going to go to Media Mike's. Mike Smith, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. How are you?
Awesome. Let me give out the phone numbers in case someone wants to join us. 727-441-3000, 1-866-826-1340. Mike and I are going to take a breather from, because there's not a lot of new releases this week, and we'll have Jake and Bob chime in as well. We wanted to have a interesting, thought-provoking few minutes here. We'll spend about 5 minutes or so on the topic of what is your opinion the best animated film of all time. The list can be very diverse. We can have different categories. We can break it down a little different ways. And I had posted on Dispatch Radio's page. There you'll see links to the Rotten Tomatoes list and the IMDb list, which I was sad to find my favorite at the top of one of those lists. Mike, what are your thoughts on some of the animated films over time? Because, I mean, we can start with Snow White. We can go all the way through to, Despicable Me 2 that makes over $1 billion this year. So the gambit is extremely wide in a lot of different films. We could apply a lot of different criteria. So what are some of the ones that come to your mind?
Well, when you start back, there's so many, like you said, so many different diverse kinds. You've got Snow White, you've got Fantasia, you've got Pinocchio, the classics, the ones that really started everything. Then you kind of have that lull towards the mid-'60s after Walt Disney passed away, and then it kind of started up again when Don Bluth got into it with Secret of NIMH, and then Ralph Bakshi with Wizards, and then you have the regeneration, I guess you can call it, in the late 80s with Little Mermaid, and so and then of course now you have the computer animation with Despicable Me and the Toy Story films. It's a great genre of film, and it's a great way of telling stories, and they've gotten so much better, especially voice talent wise. It used to be, I'm sure they came in their shorts and a t-shirt and just read the lines and left. But now it's 3 years of preparation.
Let's go to the classics then. Let's start with the where it all began. Let's start through the 30s to the 60s. You have everything from Snow White, Pinocchio. You mentioned many of these films. All of those are favorites. Jake, you're going to want to chime in because I'm going to go ahead and include The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. That was one of your favorites when you were a kid. My wife Laura brought up a very good point, Mike. I think you'll agree with this. One of the things as parents, we tend to have some extra affinity for a film when we also have an association with our kids' experiences when they watch it. So, for instance, when we take our kids or we see our kids react and respond to some of these, it kind of even heightens the experience for us as well. Do you have a film like that with your son?
I want to say, back, a lot of the time with that, you just sat him down in front with the videotape, and kids would watch it for hours. We didn't really go to too many, as a youngster, we didn't go to any films actually in the theater. But Lion King obviously was a favorite of his. Mm-hmm. Beauty and the Beast, which is also a favorite of mine. So there is that kind of, like you said, experience of watching it with him or introducing it to him, because a lot of times we grew up, I want to say, with television, classic cartoons, whereas today most of them are toy commercials. So to sit there and watch them enjoy a film and actually want to watch it again when it's over, that is kind of a cool experience.
What is the let's break that group, and then we have, of course, the Eisner era of Disney, where you have the resurgence. You have the Little Mermaid and Lion King, Mulan, and all of that kind of stuff. And again, we have a lot of that is in Jake's Nexus years and that kind of thing. And this is just Disney at the moment. Then we go to Pixar, which of course you have just really an incredible resume of films. Then you have everything else. So then you have Shrek's How to Train a Dragon. You have all of that stuff as well. And I won't not let my other son Zachary off the hook because he'll argue everything centers on Iron Giant because that was his Nexus movie as an animated. It was a giant robot and fighting explosions, so it doesn't get any better for him. So, Bob, do you have a certain animated film that you kind of have true in your heart here?
Yeah, well, I mean, much like Mike, my daughter grew up in the Lion King, Mulan, Beauty and the Beast era, so all those are pretty special to me. Personally, though, do you consider Roger Rabbit an animated film?
I don't personally. They usually have those separated out. But you like the Roger Rabbit?
I thought that was so far ahead of its time.
You know what I like with Roger Rabbit along that lines, and Mike, you'll speak to this because you talk about ahead of its time. Jake's gonna light up. We're gonna watch Jake's face light up. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was so far ahead of its time. That whole Mary Poppins thing, the dancing penguins, and then, of course, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. You had all sorts of different techniques to try to make soldiers that aren't there walking suits of armor, all sorts of stuff. So let me go to Pixar because I think most lists, if you look at most top animation lists, they start and end with a lot of Pixar films. So of the list, let me run through some of the favorites. Obviously, the Toy Story films, Up, Finding Nemo will be on that list. Monsters Incorporated, Ratatouille. The Incredibles is on that list usually. That's pretty much the Toy Story stuff. Is there a certain one, Jake, that this is the one, that's the top of the list for you?
Out of that list? Or
Just a Pixar list.
Pixar. Probably Monsters Incorporated. That was
Really?
the biggest one. Yeah, I don't know why I enjoy it so much, but I mean, even I saw it on TV the other day. I was like, oh yeah, look at that. I actually went and watched it. So
Yeah, I think Zachary would argue Bug's Life here. Mike, you have a certain Pixar one that you have in special
Yeah, I was
seat?
gonna go with Monsters Inc. as well, and then Up is a really close second.
Yeah, for me, and this is probably my overall favorite, and I will tell you that I was shocked to see the Rotten Tomato list had them 1 and 2. I have to go Toy Story because Toy Story 2 had so many layers of stuff for the kids and the adults, as well as a message for the kids and a message for the adults. And that was, to me, the one that I think I'm not sure they'll be able to top anytime soon. The other one that I will say is a very close second to that is WALL-E. When you can have almost, 20 minutes of film and there's really no dialogue, it's just a robot, and this is just animation, and little kids can be entertained by that, that is extraordinary filmmaking, in my opinion. So let me, we'll close out here with a couple others that I wanted your thoughts on. As a film critic, though, Mike, you may agree or disagree with me. You have to kind of hold Beauty and the Beast in a special place because of how it was recognized and what they were able to accomplish as being just an amazing film itself. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's really in I would say the past times of the Academy Awards before they added up to 10 features. It's really the first and only animated film to be nominated for Best Picture, and it was great. And I think it probably was one of the best pictures that year. I also think that the acting body of the Academy is what kept it from winning the award, because everyone's saying, well, we're going to be out of a job if cartoons are winning. But it's so well put together. It's a great story, great performances. Again, Jerry Orbach and David Ogden Stiers and everybody else that did the voice work, and the great Alan Menken score. That's probably the pinnacle of I mean, it's a great, great animated, great movie musical, great film. So many different genres that you would probably find that film in the top 10.
Yeah, I think it just really is just a great film. Anything else, Jake, you would like to add to the list? You were like, this is one of my favorites?
I don't know if you could consider this animation necessary, but I love James and the Giant Peach.
Okay, yeah, that's a stop
That was
motion
one of-
animation.
yeah, that was one of
kind of
my
like Nightmare
favorites.
Before Christmas. Same,
Similar.
Yeah.
same director. Bob, any others that you'd like to throw to the list? Any of the Pixar ones that jump out at you, Bob?
I haven't really watched anything since my daughter was a child.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Fair enough. Well, we watched Up last night, and I agree with you, Mike. I think it's just one that's it really, really reaches to adults as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let me stop there and let me switch.